Thank you all. Assalamu alaikum. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Rabbana la tu'akhidhna in nasina aw akhtana. Rabbana wa la tahmil alayna isran kama hamaltahu ala alladhina min qablina. Rabbana wa la tuhammilna ma la taqata lana bih. Wa'fu anna waghfir lana warhamna. أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم وصل اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Welcome, dear friends. Inshallah, we will continue with our discussion from the 29th word, which was on man's spirit's immortality and the resurrection, basically. So we were discussing about how the angels that we are witnessing actually in our experiences that we see are all around us, the angelic side of the universe, the meaningful side of the universe, which we need to be pondering over, pay attention to. So the author said, okay, pay attention to each and every being and see that it comes with certain qualities that you will not, basically, you will understand that you cannot deny that every being, material being, has some qualities to it that the existence of angels or the meaningful side of creation, the qualities don't exist. So something in each and every being, every event is conveying a meaning to me that relates to coming from the Lord of the universe, basically. So the qualities that I witness and the events and the beings around me basically is coming through some means. I don't know how, but we saw that there's a conscious aspect from my consciousness to the thing, where the meaning I'm getting from must also have a consciousness side, which is what the conscious angelic side of the beings is. So some notes I took from last time, we experienced different qualities in different beings. And the analogy of the government was used that has many different departments. Each department has directors for that department, as we can witness or see how the civilization's arrangement of the government is. So I can look at the beings and understand from this analogy the inner dimension of things, which refers to the angels, have a similar kind of government system that is operating. Right? So there's a head kind of leader, director in a way of the angels, and then the others are like the worker kind of angels. That's how I can make sense of the creation. So the creation appears to be a certain way, which means their angelic side is operating. Right. So that was basically about the angels. So the important point is that I may think that only those with free will are conscious beings. So we kind of just touched upon that point a lot about. So since I know that I cannot see consciousness in my being, but I know that I'm aware of my own existence in a way. So if there's a consciousness that is given to me, I'm made with this certain consciousness that for me to become aware, and I'm aware basically of my own self, my own existence. And the meaning I get from the beings also seems that it must come from somewhere where my consciousness, which I understands things, the other side is also something conscious. Right? So it's not basically someone with free will. Right? So human beings have free will, animal beings, some sort of free will. So the angels completely obey the command of their creator, Lord. That's what the Quran kind of hints and the prophetic message kind of mentions and conveys, and then I can look and experience that. I don't see any consciousness in the beings themselves, but I can experience that in a way. When I talk to a human being, that's the best example. I know that whatever they say, it makes sense to me, then I understand he is a or her, she is a conscious being that is communicating with me. Right? So it's not necessarily the case that they have must have free will. So the angels are described as conscious. In our observation, consciousness is understood with what we are communicating with using our physical tools, such as the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, touch, feelings, right? So physical, and then, and as when looking at the beauty of a flower, right? So our physical tools are used to communicate with the physical flower. That's one aspect. I can sense it, touch it, use my nose, right? So the physical aspect. But then, however, our consciousness communicates with the conscious angelic aspect of the flower, which is the non-physical, such as beauty of the flower, is a non-physical thing that I can say, yeah, this is made beautifully. So it emanates or conveys the message of a beauty and happiness and mercy in its existence. So belief in angels is a logical conclusion, and my free will must submit to that logical conclusion in a way. So if I have made any like something that needs to be clarified or anybody would like to add, right? So please feel free to do that. So just to continue that point before I open up the floor, I know that I'm conscious and I establish a relationship with beings who must have a conscious side with their inner dimension. And I gave the example of when I talk to a person, although I don't physically see consciousness in myself or the person, I can conclude that the person is conscious when his, her sentences make sense to me in my communication with them. So there's a mutual correspondence between how the Quran describes angels and the angelic side of the universe. The universe, through its angelic side, gives news of paradise that corresponds to the message of the Quran, which has an open door for paradise. So the universe, basically, through the meaning that it conveys, right? So it also gives me news of paradise, right? That there's good news. Things are transitory, but their meanings don't will not die, basically, right? So the meanings is something even my feelings long for it. So that can basically confer like goes along with the message of the Quran. Right? So it opens the door for paradise as well. So I'll pause if anybody would like to add anything to these notes, right? Or if you can, but if it's okay, we are comfortable that yes, there's definitely a meaningful side and we're interacting, our consciousness is interacting with the conscious side of the other beings, then I think we can move on there. Okay, so we'll go to the second aim. So the second aim is about the resurrection of the dead. So now we're shifting the topic a little bit now that we understand about the spiritual and angelic side of the universe. I mean, the author is sharing like the immortality of man's spirit in a way, right? I mean, even the spirit is like the angelic side of a being. We don't know exactly what it is, but there's something spiritual in our spirit, if that makes sense. Right? So the second aim is basically the resurrection of the dead, the end of the world, and the life of the hereafter. All right, so let's see how he presents this topic about that. Definitely resurrection of the dead is a big topic, big claim as well, that yes, so anything that dies, you think they'll come back to life again. So the Quran also brings that argument in, or brings that, yeah, question as well for human beings to wonder about and then see, okay, yeah, let's see the evidence out there. And the end of the world and the life of the hereafter. So it consists of four fundamental points and an introduction, which is in the form of a comparison. All right, so the introduction. If someone was to claim about a palace or a city, this palace or city will be destroyed and will then be repaired and reconstructed so that it is intact. At least six questions would surely arise in the face of this claim, right? So I am living in a palace or city. Someone tells me this palace or city will be destroyed, and then it will be repaired and reconstructed to a brand new or perfectly looking renovated area or something. So the first question that would come, why should they be destroyed? So this palace and city, why should it be destroyed? Is there a reason or something to necessitate it? Is there like, does that go a little bit into the wisdom side of it, a reason or something to necessitate this particular destruction of the city? I mean, nothing, everything seems so meaningful, right? There's nothing, something that seems out of like accidental or haphazard, but yes, everything seems working in a perfectly harmonious kind of situation. So although they're changing, but they're changing and they're decaying gradually is my observation. So a reason for something to necessitate that the whole universe will be destroyed and everything. So if the answer is yes, he would have to prove it with the claim that is being made that this will be destroyed. So there should be a proof along with it. So that's the first question. Well, it's a human question. Yeah, I hear this claim, so please prove it that this is indeed going to happen, right? That this universe will be destroyed. I can look at my life as well, right? To decaying pretty much every moment, every day. So the second question that comes is a question such as the following would arise. Does the builder who would destroy and then reconstruct them possess the power to do so? Would he be capable of it? If the answer is yes, he would have to prove it. Would he be capable of it? If the answer is yes, he would have to prove the same question that the builder, whoever made the city, this palace, would destroy that palace, or like say a house that somebody sees, and whoever made the house is going to destroy it and reconstruct the whole house. So does he have the ability, that power to do so? So prove that he has the power to do so. So the third question, so the following question would arise. Are there destruction possible? And are they going to be destroyed in the future? So will this happen at some point? If the answer is yes, and if he proves both the possibility of the destruction and its occurrence, the following two further questions would arise. So even if somebody proves, yes, the possible things are changing, possibility of destruction and reconstruction, yes, it's possible. The universe kind of proves it. All right. The following two further questions would arise. Is it possible for this strange palace or city to be reconstructed from scratch, brand new, scratch, not using the previous creation in a way? So that's also like pretty good question, right? Everything will be created anew. I wonder if it is possible, will they be reconstructed? So if the answer is yes, and he proves these as well, then in no aspect or corner of this matter can a gap or chink remain through without any doubt. Misgiving or suspicion might enter, or any suspicion might enter if this with proof somebody is able to prove all this. Thus, like in the comparison, there are acts necessitating the destruction and reconstruction of the palace of the earth and city of the universe. Its author and builder is powerful enough. Its destruction is possible and will occur. Its reconstruction is possible and will occur. These matters will be proved after the first fundamental point. So in this introduction, he says, keep these questions and these proofs. Excuse me. All right. So these matters will be proved after the first fundamental point. So any questions or comments so far till this introduction of the resurrection of the dead and well, let's discuss the first fundamental point and we can come back as well. Brother Ali, please go ahead. You're muted, Brother Ali.
Of course, we notice that this is what the author is promising us. And he is going to demonstrate it as he claims to be. We will read it whether this claim is really correct, and the answer he gives, whether it satisfies me or not, we will decide as we go, as we continue reading the text. That is understood. But at the same time, we have to notice that the author is teaching us by presenting these questions that you, reader, have to have in your mind that if you are going to talk about resurrection of the dead, you have to be careful while you are presenting the subject to anyone. Of course, you have to study this text, learn it, but learn the method from the way that I am dealing with the subject. I am presenting the subject to you. You have to do the same thing. Never ever speak to a person, another person, in the name of religion. Never ever do that. In the name of religion, without establishing the rational explanation of it alongside with the evidence in creation. The way the universe, existence of the universe demonstrates itself to us. If you cannot combine these two elements, evidence from creation, this is what we learn, that there will be a resurrection. From where? From revelation. So revelation is a claim. I am the speech of God. And who are you? As you are introducing yourself as the speech of God, I am the God who created the universe. So the method is combined now. The one who created the universe is speaking now in this text. And the text gives me the news about resurrection. Definitely will happen. It says, the text says. I say, how can I know? He says, look, my work out there. Look at it. Look at the universe. And your question is it possible? Or even if it is possible, it is going to happen? Really? So rational reasoning is necessary here. So we have to have the principle, as we learn from this method, that we should never ever speak about the Quranic message. Never. Yeah. The reason and prove it. So that is our host underlined it, highlighted it. So reasoning and proving. If we are not qualified to do that, we should never ever speak to people who have doubts about Islam, about message of the Quran, or about the truthfulness of the Quran, or not doubt, rejects it. In order to defend against this rejection, while we are speaking, we should never come up with ayat says so, Quran says so. What? We will have to prove from the creation, because he says, I am the one who is the creator of the universe, giving you the news that I am going to establish a new creation after everything is destroyed, after you die. That is so obvious. The method is presented to us here, and we have to learn this. Otherwise, we should not speak about religion to other people if we don't have the proof, evidence, and presented it in a reasonable way, that the reason can confirm it. That is something peerless, completely new method that we are facing here in the Risale-i Nur. If somebody else has seen any source following this method of presenting the message of the revelation, please let me know. I'm dying to find for them, to find them. Doesn't matter. Even it can be in Japan. I swear by God, I go there and take the lesson from it. I haven't found it. We have to really be careful about this method and try to learn, benefit from it, how it is practiced, demonstrated, exercised it. We are going to read, inshallah, and educate ourselves accordingly and speak to people accordingly. This is the age. Only through this method people can be satisfied. Otherwise, people will reject religion. Assalamu alaikum.
Jazakallah khairan. Yes, you're right. I haven't seen any book or anyone to talk with this evidence-based method to prove it, besides from the Quran's verses. Yeah, the universal of Allah. All right. So the first fundamental point, man's spirit is definitely immortal. Almost all the indications in the first aim, which point to the existence of the angels and spirit beings, also point to the immortality of man's spirit. So in a way, he's tying the existence of the meaningful side and spirit beings also point to the immortality of man's spirit, which is our topic here. That's why he presented the first section that we studied about the spiritual beings and the angels. So that ties to our spirit being immortal.
These are demonstrated and proven in the first aim.
I see.
Now, but the author is not using them as given.
Uh-huh.
No, I have proved it. If you are still doubtful about it, go back and read and study the first aim. Because resurrection will be continuation of it. Because if spirit is not important, it's or immortal, is if the spirit is not immortal, there is no need for resurrection. So we have to understand that spirit is immortal. That's why the author studied the immortality of spirit and demonstrated the evidence that we have studied so far. Again, it is not taken for granted that spirit is immortal. No, we should have understood it by now. So nothing is taken for granted in religion, especially related to belief and morality, ethical matters. Nothing is for granted. But the fiqh related matters is the result of it. Result of it. So if you trust somebody, he is the best, let's say, uh, the chemist teacher, proved to be, and then if he says, go to the lab and get these two different kinds of chemical substance and put it in a cup and boil it, for example. For example, just an baseless example. Now you go and do it because he demonstrated in his knowledge that he really knows how to put this one, and you really trusted in him, in his being the authority in the subject. That is why, without establishing the foundations of fundamentals of belief and their foundations on a rational base, and also accompanied with evidence, then we cannot say that Quran says pray, so you have to pray. We cannot speak in this way anymore. In ancient times, yes, but not anymore. So we have to stop speaking about the necessity of prayer, necessity of hijab, for example, uh, covering the sacred parts of human beings, depending on women, depending on men, at the same time. So when women wears any tight cloth, for example, let's say tight blouse, tight trousers, we say, no, it is not hijab. So when men wears tight trousers, we don't notice that hijab is not respected. So it goes back to the foundations. So as if people think that in Islam there is no rule for hijab. That is something else that we have to pay attention. Anyways, there is hijab rule for men according to his nature, if you like, characteristics. There is hijab for women according to her character. But in order to apply it, you have to have belief in God, hereafter, and the prophet, and the message, revelation. You have to believe in angels and have the foundation, and then say you have to do and follow what your creator tells you in order to get ready for the next creation. Be a successful, follow a successful life. So the prophet is the instructor. Listen to him and learn from his practices and apply it to your life according to the requirements and conditions of your life. So that is speciality is needed there. So we should not give priority at all to practical matters. First, establish the belief matters, and then you can suggest. But if one says, "I am a believer," what shall I do? For example, are you convinced? He said, "Yeah, yeah." Oh, none of my business. I say, in the Quran it says you have to give zakat, but this is not proof at all. Not narrating a ayah, but mostly people are doubtful about the necessity of prayer. Mostly, even those people who practice, they are doubtful. Go and ask them. But these uneducated people, not well-educated people, they do it. They have no doubt, and they don't reason. They don't ask questions. They do it. No, don't mess up with them in principle. But when you are speaking a young, especially this millennium generation, we've got to be very careful not to really exchange the position of priority of belief matters, secondary position or secondary step, important but secondary step, or practical matters. We have to watch out for this, inshallah. Thank you.
Inshallah. Thank you. So I understand you said about the fiqh or the ruling matter is about the result of our belief, right? What about the manners and akida and all that? So, I mean, that's also like innate within us, many of the things, right, in the akida part.
Potentially, Brother Asim, we've got to be careful here. Innate within us, potentially, I can confirm it. But I have to need education, evidence, reasoning, satisfied intellectual reasoning in order to come out this potential. For example, as far as I know, you are something to do with, I don't know the details, it is not necessary to mention it. You are a computer engineer or in computer science. Potentially, do you have a, a potential to study and become a chemist?
Yep, I do.
Yeah. If you study, you can become a chemist, correct?
Correct, yes.
Right. Are you a chemist now?
No, I'm not.
Why?
I didn't use my potential for that.
Potentially, you are able to be a chemist.
Correct.
So the same reasoning must be transferred to human beings are potentially able to confirm that there must be a creator, there must be an excreation, and human beings are potentially able to confirm that they need instructors, teachers, prophets. And human beings are potentially able to understand and confirm the revelation, but it doesn't make them chemists. Understood?
Got it. Alhamdulillah, yes.
Yeah. It doesn't make them a believer at all. Human beings are given free will. Now, our slogan in this, you call it motto or whatever, well,
Yep.
we don't follow,
The slogan is good, yes. Or
yeah, taking for granted belief,
belief.
taking for granted Muslim background. No,
Correct.
that's all we don't.
It has to make sense and be convincing.
Yeah.
everyone, to our human spirit.
with evidence.
Yes,
And education is necessary.
right,
That's what we are doing here,
right.
inshallah.
For Akida and that, so these guys, so we need teachers as well to improve upon our
Yeah.
connection in a way, right? Because I talked to like a few young people, right, and this, so they keep asking me kind of these kind of questions, like all the different areas of religion that need to be studied as well. That I said belief is like the main fundamental behind everything, you know. All right, let's continue. So in my opinion, the matter is so certain that further explanation would be profitless. Indeed, the distance between us and the caravans of innumerable immortal spirits who are waiting to go to the hereafter in the intermediate and spirit worlds is so fine and slight that there is no need to demonstrate it with proof, because he's done that in the first domain. Numberless saints and people of illumination, getting in touch with them and those who discern the secrets of the grave, seeing them, and even a number of ordinary people communicating with them, and the mass of people forming relations with them in true dreams, have formed a mass of unanimous reports and quite simply become part of the commonly accepted knowledge of mankind. Oh, interesting. However, because materialist thought has stupefied everyone in this age, it has been able to implant doubts in their minds concerning even the most evident matters. In order to remove these doubts, therefore, we shall set forth an introduction and four sources from the numerous sources springing from the heart's intuition and the intellect's insight. So we're going to use the heart's intuition or gut feeling and the intellect's insight, reasoning part of it. Okay, let's continue. Introduction again to this. As is proved in the fourth truth of the 10th word, an eternal, everlasting, and peerless beauty requires the eternity and permanence of mirror-bearing enraptured admirers. Exactly. If there was no admirers, what good is that? Peerless beauty and those admirers are definitely looking for eternity and permanence of those whatever they get admired about. In a faultless, eternal, and perfect art seeks the perpetuation of thoughtful heralds. Faultless, eternal, perpetual art. Art is eternal, perfect art. Seeks the perpetuation of thoughtful heralds. And a boundless mercy and beneficence require the continued ease and happiness of needy ones to thank it. So this aspect of eternity, everlasting, needs basically perpetuation in a way. Eternal and perfect art seeks the perpetuation of the ones who proclaim, right? So the conscious beings who kind of proclaim whatever the perfect art that they witness, the qualities in the universe that they witness. And boundless mercy requires that should be made easy for every human being, every conscious being, ease and happiness. so that human beings can be grateful and live happily pleased with whatever is created out there. And the foremost of those mirror-bearing and raptured admirers, those heralding thoughtful ones, those needy thankful ones is the human spirit, in which case it will accompany that beauty, that perfection, that mercy on the endless road to eternity. It will be immortal. I like this paragraph, inshallah. The foremost of those mirror bearing and raptured admirers, those heralding thoughtful ones, those needy thankful ones, is the human spirit. So this is like using their free will in a way. The human spirit is already designed in a way to respond back and herald what it sees. But human beings as a whole, in general, is also given the aspect of free will. So in this case, human spirit, in which case will accompany that beauty, that perfection, that mercy on the endless road to eternity. It will be immortal. Anybody wants to comment so far what has been read? It's an interesting topic and the way the author is approaching it as well. Brother Ali, please go ahead.
I think we all notice that the text is speaking first. Do we see peerless beauty? That's one. I'm numbering on my book. And perfect art and boundless mercy, three. And mirror, foremost of the mirror. Now, what we see in the creation ourselves without having any accepted idea, we see, yes, the universe, everything is created with beauty. It is an art, perfect. Really, there is no defect in the creation. So everything is freely given. It means boundless mercy. The universe is given to everyone, free. Everybody individually can benefit from the whole universe. Your benefiting from the universe doesn't really prevent me from seeing the beauty. You may be a rich man, have an I don't know, beautiful garden. Fruits are flourishing. Now, not as far as the eating side is concerned, but benefiting from the trees as they are employed to clean the air and also photosynthesis and beauty, I can see that. The owner can see the beauty. I can see the beauty. So I can benefit and enjoy the beautiful garden as the owner uh, is enjoying it. Anybody can come in, watch it, and benefit from it. That is what the universe demonstrates to us. Generally speaking, some things happen in the world that human beings don't like. That is for other reasons. Let's make general statements here. On the other side, it is interesting that beauty is created, and I love beauty. You know, matter cannot develop itself to love beauty. That is reasonable. And no one can claim that matter produced the sense of beauty, loving beauty. And the created food, it's so interesting. The food, everything to be eaten has different taste, not the same. So interestingly, we found out that we have tongue detect all the different tastes. Do you think my cell, my body, cells of my body know the different tastes there and accordingly uh, evolve and develop with a capacity to be able to detect all the tastes? Matter doesn't know what's going on in the world on the other side of my existence. This, mindless people, actually biased people, conditioned, blocked mind people say it happened accidentally. Okay, you are a human being, you have potential reasoning. Reason it. If you can prove it, if you can confirm it, go ahead. But I'm not stupid accepting this idea. So this relationship, we find that this relationship is really uh, perfectly arranged. And my nose and the smell, everything has some sort of smell. If you don't make the distinction, go and ask the dogs. They know it. Example. So it means everything smells. Everything smells. And I have nose so perfectly arranged that this nose recognize all different tools, as a tool. Mind transfers it into form. Mind is created to transform it into a form that human spirit can understand and perceive it, obtain it. These are tools like the telescope or microscope. These are tools. Nose is a tool, tongue is a tool, but this tool is able to detect it. And they have an unbelievable relationship between my nose cells and my brain cells. So it sends whatever they detect to the brain, and brain turns it into an information, knowledge. And human spirit recognizes, becomes aware of this knowledge, and said, there is something smelling over there because of the angle in my two nostrils of my nose. Perfectly, no fault, even, no deficiency, no blemish at all, perfectly arranged. What does it mean now? We learn from this paragraph. If this beauty is peerless, if mercy is boundless, if art is perfect and continuously demonstrating itself, it means the source of beauty, art, mercy, uh, necessitates a being who will perceive it, appreciate it. It means respond back, necessitates it. How do we understand? Now, there is a teacher among us. I don't know, ask some teachers as well. Or Suhail. Now, teacher, let's speak to teacher. If you go and prepare the, how do you say, daily requirements of the syllable, daily program. It's a lesson plan. And you prepared yourself very hard, right? And you went to the class. There is no student. There is no student. What do you do? Do you teach the class? Nothing. You don't demonstrate it because there is no responding. Nobody to respond. There must be one person. Correct? Yes. Okay. Suhail, as far as I know, you are practicing in medicine, doctor. So you go to hospital, there is no patient. What do you do?
It's not like you do nothing. You leave.
You don't demonstrate your quality of knowledge of medicine because there is no audience. There is nothing. He will receive it. So, if mercy is permanent and perfect, beauty as well, and art as well, art as well, what it requires? Permanent observers. So, permanent, it means if you go to school, there must be a student. If you go to the office in the hospital, there must be a patient. Otherwise, you don't go. There is no patient. There is no possibility of patient. Do you go to the hospital? No. It's so reasonable or obvious. So we use this analogy. If the demonstration of mercy, beauty, art, etc., are permanent, they need permanent observers. They need permanent respondents according to the subject. Respondents. What we see, we studied in the first aim. Human spirit is, as it is described here, immortal. And I die. Don't you see an obvious contradiction here? I die. So my spirit is immortal. And the spirit, I think we should never forget this point. The spirit cannot function, cannot operate without tools. We experience here. I need to see perfectly, but if my eye don't see perfectly, although I am dying to see perfectly, but my tool doesn't work. That is why we are subject to death. When the tools altogether, my body, doesn't work anymore, spirit cannot function at all. Although conscious, but cannot function. There is no tool. That is why resurrection must be for my bodily existence, not spiritual existence. It is immortal anyways. It doesn't die so that it will be resurrected. It will be recreated. My body doesn't function. When it doesn't function, it means that life is not functioning anymore. My body becomes lifeless. Then my spirit definitely needs another body. Because only through this body I will be responding to the demonstration. I will be responding to the demonstration according to the way I educate my spirit. Now, we should understand that from the very beginning, we have a clue about the necessity of existence of next creation. They are from the first paragraph. I am satisfied. So there must be another creation, definitely. Just first paragraph is enough, in fact, to convince me. Not because I am tending to believe, but it makes sense. The reality is out there in the universe. Reality is within me, in my own being. I am experiencing it. That's it. So belief in the hereafter is so easy. Necessity of the next creation is so easy. But the text is will continue. I don't know how many pages I'm looking at it. Oh, how many pages? Until the third aim. Oh, 56 and 34 or 30 pages. No, 20 pages, 21 pages. 21 page extra demonstration because it will include not only death of human beings, but death of the universe. And another universe, bodily existing universe, needs to be created, which is in the Quran, which is described as hell and paradise. So another bodily existence must be realized. That needs further discussions, but the first paragraph is enough that there must be a compensation against the fact of uh, death, death of human being, death of stars, death of galaxies. They are the signs that the universe is subject to death. The parts are dying and recreated, but human beings are not recreated. In other things are created, demonstrating that the action of creation is continuous. So the source is endless. Source is endless. That's what we understand. Then, for the endless source, infinite source of creation, then it wouldn't be difficult to create another universe. That will be the reason we are going to study 20 pages, inshallah. Thank you. Sorry, long talk.
Inshallah, thank you. That was beautiful. Yes. We have to pay attention to the qualities. Yes, peerless beauty, perfect art, and boundless mercy. Thank you for highlighting that, inshallah. Yep, so we'll continue. I know the time is up, so inshallah we'll continue, as you said, next time, inshallah, to continue. We'll gradually try to fortify our understanding, inshallah. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين برحمة سورة الفاتحة